Hello, everybody. It is I, the Great Clement, as always, with my co-host.
It's me, Kara, who's ready for an award show, bitches.
It's the beginning of 2025. It's January, and today is going to be a celebration of all things 2024. We are going to do an award show. We are going to give out awards to all of the things that occurred during this year to celebrate the highs and lows of 2024, and just to feel good about everything that's progressed. You know, just to feel good about everything that's occurred over the last year. Does that sound good to you, Kara?
It sounds great to me. You know, it's funny, because this idea started because the Game Awards nominated Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree as Game of the Year. And people are like, wait a minute, that's DLC. That's not a complete game. You can't nominate it for, a Game of the Year stuff. And Jeff Keighley kind of came out and he was like, well, but actually, in some exceptions, if the final product is of a certain level of artistic merit, regardless of whether it is a DLC or part of a full game or a full video game, it can be nominated and we'll make exceptions. So from there, people were like, okay, well, Elden Ring's going to get nominated again. And the Game Awards actually turned out to be not as bad as a lot of people thought it was going to be. I thought it was the best Game Awards that I'd seen in a long time.
I agree.
Yeah.
It was actually one of the better shows they've done in a while. Both the trailers they were revealing and the actual awards given out were pretty earned, pretty deserved, and I actually wasn't bored by the show. I was shocked.
Yeah, and Jeff poked more fun at himself this time around. I mean, if you're going to reveal a sequel to Okami, then I think you're within your right to just poke yourself a bit more. It was just a little bit more self-aware this year. Obviously, there's some things that could improve for next year, but I thought it was much better than years past. But the point was, I said that we could do a better awards show than Jeff Keighley.
That's right.
And maybe we don't have the budget for that? Or
we don't have a trailer to show you.
No. But we can make awards and we can give them out. So that's what we're going to do right now.
Damn right. And we'll save all the new topics for the next episode in February, okay? But we still have a Q&A at the very end because, people paid for that privilege on my Patreon. You guys can pay for my Patreon and send in questions too. I would love that. And now it's time for the first annual C-Squared Awards for 2024. So let's get to the nominations, huh?
We don't really have any nominations. We just picked a winner for each one. In some awards, we both picked the same winner. In other awards, it might differ. Your mileage may vary. But yeah, let's get it on with our first award, which is Game of the Year. And I think you and I both picked the same game.
I think so, too. For me, the best game of 2024, no contest, was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I also picked Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We did a podcast episode on it several months ago. You can go back and listen to that. But in summary, fantastic game, amazing music, really great directions and character for everyone. There's lots of fun things to do, lots of fun side quests. It's just so good. I'm so excited for part 3. It was just the entire complete package was just so wonderfully done.
It was a game that just kept delivering surprise after surprise after surprise, and I was just constantly impressed the whole way through. Until the end, I wasn't super huge on the ending, but and certainly there are lows to the game. I won't disagree that the open world thing is not going to be for everybody. There was a particular section with Kate Sith that I thought could have been handled a little bit better, but overall, the highs are just so friggin' high that, I don't really care about the lows. I'm still thinking about the Gold Saucer, and I'm still thinking about climbing Mount Corel, and I'm still thinking about Costa del Sol, and all of the locations, and all of the wacky stuff that happen in those locations, and the fact that, when I eventually do my video on it next month, I can't wait to get back into Queen's Blood and play that card game again, because Queen's Blood could be its own spin-off mobile game. It was that friggin' fun.
They could bring it back for the next game.
Oh, I'd be surprised if they didn't.
For sure.
I would be absolutely surprised if they didn't bring back Queen's Blood, but it's the sum of all of its parts, you know? It's amazing how many mini games they have in it that are all really, really fun. It's amazing how detailed the cutscenes and voices and all of it is. Like, there isn't anything about this game that is half-assed. All of it is given so much attention, so much detail, so much effort that this... When I think of, like, what is a AAA big budget, oh my god, this is the most expensive game I've ever played, 7 Rebirth is, like, at the top of that list in comparison to, like, Astrobot, in comparison to your Metaphors and whatever game else came out this year. 7 Rebirth is just clearly the most expensive, but also clearly the most fun. I had the most fun with that game. And I can't wait to replay it on hard mode very, very soon. So, it's my game of the year.
Yep, it's my game of the year, too. I like the ending more than other people. So I kind of understand, like, what direction they're going in or what they're trying to aim for. I just hope they stick the landing for 3 if that's what they're, you know, doing. So, you know, it's like the second part of a book. So you're not going to get, like, an entirely complete ending, but it just leaves you with enough questions for you to kind of like wonder and ponder and theorize over before the next game comes out. So yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, congrats. Woohoo!
You did it.
Here's my confetti. I'm glad you weren't a letdown. You were my most anticipated game of 2024.
And that takes us to the next award, which is Best Soundtrack. Which video game had the best musical score of the year? And I am going to choose Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I also picked Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I promise 7 Rebirth is not going to sweep everything.
This might be the last award it gets this whole entire show. But no, I'm sorry. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth also had an amazing soundtrack that I just don't think can be topped. I mean, you know you're in for a good time when you're in the first open world map and you're already singing along to the theme songs. Like, the minute you get to the Chocobo farm, I was just singing along to that song the whole entire time. And even the new tracks, like I loved Stamp's theme song. I loved Kyrie's theme song. I loved the Mount Corel climbing theme. When you're actually scaling that mountain, you get this blood-pumping, triumphant piece of music that I actually listen to on walks. And friggin' Christ, that was just an incredible score, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just, like, remixes of the old stuff. There was a lot of new stuff, like Chocobo Race theme, that I just adored.
The Queen's Blood theme.
The Queen's Blood theme is incredible as well.
It's so good, man. Even when you're in calm, like at the beginning, and just hear that song play, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. This sounds so good. It's great.
Like I think this game's soundtrack came out in like fucking 6 or 8 CDs. It's a ridiculous number of compositions. Everything about it is just insane, the effort. Like, I just, you know, if Square Enix goes bankrupt anytime soon, I wouldn't be shocked.
See, like, I was reminded how amazing the soundtrack was because I took an Uber ride a month ago. This is before I came over to Canada. I was doing some last minute Christmas shopping. And the guy driving was actually listening to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth soundtrack.
No shit.
Like, it was, yeah, he was. He was listening to one of the fight themes, and I'm just in the car, and I'm like, shit, this still sounds great. This is so good. Deserved all those awards.
Yeah. And there just hasn't been another game this year that I think had a comparable soundtrack. I mean, I loved Astrobot's music. I loved Metaphor's music. There's a lot of games this year that I absolutely adored the music of, but 7 Rebirth, it went above and beyond. It had so many tracks that I downloaded and saved to my computer, so it's swell. It's really, really good. Best soundtrack of the year.
Yes.
And now the most important category. The best waifu.
Yes.
I choose for best waifu of 2024, Gallica from Metaphor Refantasio.
An excellent choice.
I would do anything for that girl. There was a scene when they went to the beach on Virga Island and you got to choose to hang out with any companion that you wanted, any one of the party members that you wanted, and I chose the fairy girl. Gallica, you are the best waifu of 2024, and I don't care who knows it.
An excellent choice. Not my choice, but an excellent choice indeed. Very respectful.
All right, who was the best waifu of 2024, Kara?
I think the best waifu of 2024 was my girl, Rhea Ripley. What a woman.
Oh.
I love her so much.
Absolutely.
Like, she is so popular in WWE. They've been really pushing her as, like, the big women's star. And maybe she might not have been my favorite women's wrestler. I'll get into that a little bit later. But, like, she's constantly trending on TikTok. She has, like, a really cute Instagram of, like, her dogs. And it's adorable. And her character just comes across really well on TV. She's, like, the big babyface woman right now. A lot of people say, like, Rhea Ripley is your girlfriend's favorite girl. And I find that true with a lot of women that I talk to. Like, we love Rhea Ripley. And she's great. She's awesome.
She also wears, like, some of the most provocative outfits. Like, just this Monday, or last Monday, we saw her win the women's championship from Liv Morgan. And, oh my God, like, just that outfit was so revealing and so, like, provocative, let's say.
She is your goth mommy.
She is your goth mommy.
She is your goth mommy. And she will step on you for whatever it takes to get that title.
I just remember some of the things she was doing leading up to WrestleMania last year, where just some of the crazy interactions she was having with, like, Nia Jax and whatnot were definitely, they were definitely made the internet. They definitely caught everybody's attention. So yeah, I get it. I absolutely get it.
And, like, she knows it, but she gets it. Like, she, like, really straps into, like, that confidence, which, you know, is great for her. I just love Rhea so much. I never buy wrestling t-shirts with, like, wrestlers on them, but they sold a Rhea Ripley shirt at WrestleMania 40, and I'm like, nah, I had to get one for my girl.
Yeah.
You will always be famous to me, Rhea Ripley. Keep doing you. Keep doing you.
Keep doing you. But yeah, we've covered the best waifu, but don't worry, we're equal opportunity perverts. We wanted to give you guys the best husbando. The best husbando of 2024. Who is it, Caro?
Well, I had to go through several choices here. So at first, I said King Louise from Metaphor because he's a bad guy and he's a piece of shit, but I love that in my villains. He's great. So I was considering him at first. And I'm going to count this as 2024 because technically this piece of media came out in 2024. So I'm going to count it. But then we went to the movies and we saw Nosferatu.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
So I am going to pick the main antagonist of Nosferatu.
Count Orlok?
Count Orlok, because the way that Lily Rose Depp's character thirsts for this man is wild. It is great. And I think that is good husbando material. Has anyone thirsted for King Louise and Metaphor the way that this woman did for Count Orlok? No, I don't think so. So I'm going to give it to him.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. That creepy ass face, that he looks like a corpse. He's got that big old mustache.
You don't understand, man.
I mean, I don't. I'm not attracted to men, but, you know, I don't understand. Is there a security there? Is there a safety? Does he make you feel warm and tingly? I don't know.
He just wants you.
Okay, then. Okay. Count Orlok from Nosferatu. Interesting choice. I wouldn't have picked that. Do you know what my best husbando is?
Who is yours?
This year was dedicated to him. He absolutely deserves it. It's Shadow the Hedgehog. Let's be real here. When I would see people react to the trailers of Shadow Generations and or Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the one thing I can see from almost everybody was their absolute infatuation and their absolute fucking support for Shadow the Hedgehog, because Oh, we love Shadow. We want Shadow to be happy. We want things to be great in Shadow's life. He is the coolest character that's ever existed in any piece of media. And no matter what he's doing, no matter who he's voiced by, whether it be Kirk Thornton or Keanu Reeves, Shadow is in all of our hearts. He is the ultimate life form. He is the ultimate husbando.
Yes. Very respectable pick. Very respectable.
We all just want Shadow in our lives to protect us, and we know he could because nothing can stop Shadow the Hedgehog.
Look, those Shadow AMVs in the 2000s were a different kind of world. I miss those times.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Shadow and Count Orlok, you know, quite the winners of the Best Husbando Award.
All right, now we have our next award. And it's the Thank God It's Over award. And I think you and I had the same pick for this.
Thank God it's over.
Mm-hmm. So many Marvel movies, your Cravens, your Madam Webs, your Venoms. It's just not working out. It just isn't. We saw one of the three. We saw Madam Web. And oh God.
Yeah.
No alcohol in the world could make me enjoy that movie. It was bad.
In a way, it's sort of like a throwback to some of those old throwaway 2000s superhero movies like the Fantastic Four or Elektra or whatever. But even that, I feel like that's an insult to those movies even.
Yeah.
Nobody, because the only reason this cinematic universe exists is because, well, we have Spider-Man, and we need to milk the hell out of Spider-Man, so we're just gonna keep making our own part of the universe that connects to Spider-Man. And it's weird that, like, Morbius, if you watch Morbius, the Vulture's in it. Like, Michael Keaton's character from Homecoming, the Vulture, is in Morbius. And why? Because is Spider-Man in Morbius? No. Is Spider-Man in Madam Web? No. Is Spider-Man in Craven? No. Does Spider-Man make an appearance in the Venom movies? And technically, yes, one time. But that was only so that Venom could go to the teaser ending of Spider-Man No Way Home so that he could be a gag ending for that film. And maybe he left a piece of the symbiote behind that maybe Spider-Man will use in the next Spider-Man movie. But regardless, it is absurd that we've had a cinematic universe dedicated around one superhero, and that superhero has nothing to do with any of these fucking characters, and these characters are not beloved. We don't like them. We don't want to watch them.
I feel like Craven just came out.
It did. Craven did come out.
It did, yeah, but, like, where was the buzz for it? Like, I saw the posters, I saw the standee, but, like...
Yeah.
I feel like the movie theaters that we went to, there weren't, like, Craven showtimes. I don't know.
No. I don't remember seeing anything aside from, like, a stand-in, like, thing for Taylor Johnson, you know, but, like... Who cares? I didn't... You know what? It's weird. I remember when the first Venom movie came out, I heard people talk about how goofy it was and how ridiculous it was, and they were liking the first one. But then when the second and third ones dropped, I didn't hear anybody talk about those films. Nobody cared about Venom 3. I didn't hear anyone talk about Venom 3 this year, and the people who did mention it, they didn't like it. They thought Venom 3 was disappointing, just like Madam Web was disappointing, just like Craven was disappointing. And I think... what inspired this award was that, like, finally Sony was like, okay, we're going to stop with this whole Spider-Man cinematic universe. We have no plans to continue that. And I'm just like, oh, thank God.
Like, the movie is so bad that Dakota Johnson was, like, kind of ripping it apart in the media tour. And then Sydney Sweeney hosted Saturday Night Live and she was making jokes. It's supposed to be a promotion for Madam Web. And she's, like, in the opening monologue making jokes about Madam Web. Like, you can just tell how not very well received the movies are.
I said it before and I'll say it again. You had Sydney Sweeney dressed as Spider-Woman and you did nothing with that. What the fuck is wrong with you?
That alone would generate box office monies for ages and you did nothing.
if Sydney Sweeney was the star of this movie and she was on the poster in her Spider-Woman suit, everybody would have fucking went to see it just because it's Sydney Sweeney. But no, it had to be about Madame Web, the Oracle character, because apparently she needed an origin story and a movie. Oh my God.
Those poor actresses.
Thank God it's over. Goodbye, Sony MCU stupid Spider-Verse. I hate that shit. I'm sorry. Ugh. But now on to the next award. This award goes to the most likely to get revenge.
Revenge.
Revenge. Caro, who do you think is the most likely to get revenge?
I want to hear you first.
All right. In my opinion, the person most likely to get revenge in the future is Zavok of the Deadly Six from the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise.
No way! That's who I picked! I also picked Zavok!
No way! Oh, man.
No way, and not the Blue Sphere kind of no way.
No way? No way! That's what we're saying. Zavok will get his revenge.
He will get his revenge.
And that's what we predict for the future. What you predict for 2025 is that Zavok will get his revenge. Sorry, we're just trying to get this meme out. We're still in a very meme-tastic mood since late December. But it was a good award, I feel. Good award.
Yeah, good award. All right. The next award is Male Wrestler of the Year. So out of all the wrestlers in WWE, AEW, New Japan, who did we think did the most excellent job this year? And Kenny was inactive for all of 2024, so no, I did not pick Kenny. But he's wrestling now, so he may be my pick for this year. But for 2024, I went with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Nice. And why is that?
Yeah, so Cody had like kind of a really rough start to the year. So he won the Rumble, obviously. So when you win a Royal Rumble, you get a chance at a championship of your choosing at WrestleMania. And obviously, stars aligned, Cody Roman 2 made the most sense. But then The Rock came in, and The Rock was kind of like, nah, I kind of want the match with Roman. You can sit on the sidelines for like next year. And so for a good while, we thought that the Cody Roman sequel match wasn't happening, but Cody took it like a really good sport. He still did what he needed to do. He raised a lot of star power. He like had that amazing segment with The Rock in the rain on Raw. Like they're just fighting outside in the rain. It's like one of the most cinematic things that this company has done. I just think as a face of the company, Cody does a really great job. I think he's the best babyface WWE has had since John Cena. He works really well with kids. He's always there to be a reliable part of a segment. Some of his matches after WrestleMania haven't hit as hard as that one, but I think Cody is what the company needs right now, in terms of like a babyface champion. So yeah, he's just going out there. And he's been killing merchandise sales. Like, oh my gosh, consistently always has like the highest earning merch like across all wrestlers. And who would have called that like 10 years ago when he was Stardust?
And he's got one of the best theme songs in wrestling right now, because my god, every time it cuts to the whoa part, I feel like everyone in the audience all sings along to it. And my male wrestler of the year is also Cody Rhodes.
Whoa!
Now, for sure, I felt like he had the big spotlight. This was his story to finish. Him going into WrestleMania, everything was leading into him. And then Roman took a back seat and disappeared for a little bit, because I was close to nominating Roman Reigns just because of all the stuff he's been doing with Solo Sikoa and the new Bloodline as of late. But I can't really count their Netflix fight because that was 2025, and he had been missing from TV for quite a long while. So I do think that Cody and what he was doing with Kevin Owens and whatnot, I love the thing he's got going on with Kevin Owens right now, because it shows he's not just like a eat your vitamins babyface who's just like virtuous and never going to do anything filled with anger or anything. Like, no, if you piss off Cody Rhodes, he will come after you.
Or entirely overbooked, like the LOL Cena wins era of the late 2000s. Like, it doesn't feel like Cody is like this Superman character who can like defy all the odds. There's like there's sort of like physical flaws and imperfections in his personality, which makes him come across more realistic.
Yeah. And I hope we never get to the point of like exhaustion where like he becomes the next John Cena, in the sense of like, yeah, it's like you say, Super Cena. He always wins. He gets shoved down our throat every single year. I hope that doesn't happen. But as of right now, I think he's a great champion. As of right now, I think he is the most magnetic superstar, even when compared to AEW superstars. I was trying to think of like who the best male AEW superstar is, and I just couldn't think of too many options that compared to Cody Rhodes. I just thought, yeah, he's the guy right now. He is the guy.
Yep.
Which takes us to the other category, Female Wrestler of the Year. Who was the best female competitor in wrestling today? And for my nomination, I'm going to say Mariah May from AEW. She really was the standout surprise for me this year, and her entire storyline with Toni Storm, and Toni Storm, close runner-up. I had to pick...
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was a very tight like matchup between those two for me, where like Toni Storm did amazing this year with her timeless gimmick, but I also thought Mariah May was a great part of that. And when she turned on Toni Storm and busted her open, and you know, with the heel, and it was just like being the absolute menace. I think she's got great mic skills. I think she's got superb wrestling ability. I think that she is just the total package right now. And everything she was doing with Mina Shirakawa when she was in AEW was also just like had me glued to the screen. And I was just like, this Mariah May is like my favorite female wrestler this year. I'm always looking forward to her matches, you know, like we just saw the newest AEW pay-per-view, and I was just like, I gotta see the Thunder Rosa match. I gotta see that street fight, because that is going to be something exciting. Like, I love watching interviews with her. I love watching little things she does. Like, she is grabbing all of my attention right now. And I think that it's great that she's the women's champion. It's great that she's gotten the push that she so badly deserves since being in Stardom all those years. And yeah, Mariah May is my female wrestler of the year.
And Mariah May is the wrestler that's gotten me the closest to subscribing to Stardom, because I really want to see a lot of her backlog. From being in the Club Venus stable with Mina Shirakawa, because that's where that relationship comes from. But Mariah is just so awesome. I love seeing her. I should have met her when we went to WrestleCon, because she was there. But her line was long, I remember, and like we had other plans that day. So I'm like, ugh, but
yeah.
She's just done a really good job revitalizing the women's division in AEW, because for the longest time, that was kind of like the Achilles heel of AEW, because great matches, amazing cards, great pay-per-views, women's division, not really feeling it. But Mariah's played and Toni too, they both played a really great part in just revitalizing it now. So now we have Toni, Mariah, Willow Nightingale, Jamie Hayter, Harley Cameron, who's been really great in Collision, Julia Hart's back. Like, this division, Chris
Statlander kicks ass right now.
Mercedes Moné, like, this division is so stacked. And honestly, like, the women's division in AEW has been my favorite part of the promotion last year. Because, like, sure, the stories have kind of just been but the women's division was consistently amazing. And I'm just so happy we're in this spot, because a lot of fans were just complaining about that division for years. And finally, after just pushing and pushing and pushing, we're in a great spot with them. And I just want to see more of that energy this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like when I think of why AEW's women's division is finally kick-ass right now, and why it's the best it's ever been, I think of Mariah May, and I think of Toni Storm, and I think of that whole rivalry. And yeah, bringing Mercedes in, the matches have been a lot better. It's just a finally, after like 3 or 4 years, it's this division is finally really, really good. And I'm always excited to see a women's match in AEW now, which is, something I've wanted for quite a while. So I'm giving Mariah May her flowers.
Yes. So for my pick for Female Wrestler of the Year, I would also pick Mariah May. I think she deserves all the flowers, but I wanted to spotlight someone different that I also got a lot of enjoyment out of. So I ended up giving this award to Liv Morgan.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Because, Liv had an interesting start to the year because she was runner-up in the Rumble. There was this cry from fans online wanting more for Liv Morgan, but from those early creative decisions early in the year, I had assumed that they were building something up for Liv Morgan. It's okay, well, she's lasting this long, they must have something planned for her. And of course, we get the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour, and she takes out Rhea Ripley, she takes her title, takes her stable, takes her man, and we have this heel character from Liv that was just so much fun to watch. The entire summer with Dominic was just really funny. All of the segments were great. Dom cussing her out in Spanish was awesome. And my favorite part of wrestling is where you can tell, they're having fun with their character, and I definitely get that sense from Liv Morgan, where she's really enjoying her segments, getting more confident in developing her character, and I just feel like she has a great time every time she's out there.
If I didn't know any better, I would think she and Dominic were actually dating.
Yes, they're really good at kayfabe there.
The way they do the nose, the Eskimo kisses, and the little snuggles and stuff, I'm just good God, girl.
So it's just nice to see Liv Morgan get in that main event spotlight. They've been using her character and her persona a lot for the Netflix marketing. So I can tell WWE is still high on her, even though she's lost her title. And yeah, give the flowers to Liv. She's earned it after all these years.
I like that she's sort of become the de facto leader of the Judgment Day. She didn't just steal Rhea's man and her title, but also she's taking her position in the Judgment Day and going much, much higher than Rhea ever did, and actually beefing with Finn Balor and trying to win over everyone else and have Raquel and Dominic on her side. And I don't know, I feel like if there is going to be a new exodus for that group, it's going to be her convincing the rest of the people to kick out Finn and betray Finn, if I had to guess. But I want her to be the queen of the Judgment Day. I want her to be sitting atop the throne of that group and see where it goes from here.
She's the femme fatale of WWE right now, which is I like describing her like that.
Yeah.
Because she's just so slimy, but she's also good at what she does. She's seductive. It's a great character. Yeah.
And it's definitely a far cry from, the Riot Squad days. Mm-hmm. She's definitely coming to her own. She is a star. She was the women's champion all year. She is pretty damn awesome.
Yeah. Good job, Liv.
Hell yeah. So yeah, Liv Morgan and Mariah May, congratulations on winning those awards. Now, Caro, what in 2025 is the most anticipated? What are you looking forward to next year compared to everything else right now?
So there's a couple great things coming out next year. Next month, the new the new Like a Dragon spinoff comes out with Majima as the main character in its own pirate adventure. So I'm really excited for that. And GTA 6 is kind of up in the air right now in terms of a concrete release date, though I wouldn't be surprised if they just released it in 2026. But there is one game that got confirmed by its creator that is definitely going to come out this year, and that's Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4, which I'm so excited about because I've been waiting for years for a continuation of this story. Toby Fox and his team have knocked it out of the park with Chapters 1 and 2. The gameplay is so much improved from Undertale, and the characters are awesome, and the music is great, and I'm just so excited for this game to come out, or at least this portion of the full game to come out this year. We don't know when, but it's definitely coming out in 2025. So that's my pick.
Very nice, very nice. I had to think about it for quite a bit. And you did name a lot of things that I definitely want to check out. Because, everything sounds amazing in that department. And I don't know if it's going to be delayed. I don't know if it is, but my pick will be Grand Theft Auto 6. Rockstar games are always winners for me. You know, I'm actually doing an Xbox video right now, and I was looking up trailers of all the games that came out during that era. And it occurred to me that, like, I never dislike Rockstar games. Like, I liked GTA 5, I liked LA Noire, I liked Red Dead Redemption 2. It seems like no matter what they come out with, I'm always glued to the screen. I'm always fascinated by the characters. I'm always just so into what that thing is. And, you know, they got the budget of fucking God.
Yeah.
They have so much money because Grand Theft Auto 5 made them so much money. And you just know that what they're doing with this new game, with this dual protagonist thing in Vice City, I get the feeling this is going to be a really fantastic entry. It might be polarizing in the way that Red Dead 2 was, or maybe it'll go back to being as arcadey awesome as people wanted Red Dead 2 to be. So maybe they're learning the lessons from that last game, but if it has even the same amount of detail as Red Dead 2, I am all on board. I want Grand Theft Auto 6 in my veins. I am still a big fan of this franchise, and I can't wait to see what they're cooking up. Rockstar hasn't disappointed me yet.
No.
So Grand Theft Auto 6 is my most anticipated project of 2025.
Yeah, that would definitely be a second place pick for me. GTA 5 came out like my last year of high school, for the record. So that's how old it is, and that's how long I've been waiting for 6.
It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
We've had Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS3, PS4, and PS5, and we're still waiting for number 6. So yeah, I hope it lives up to the hype. I hope it lives up and has characters as fun as Trevor in it. Because GTA 5 was a classic. Absolutely a classic. And yeah, Deltarune and Grand Theft Auto. I'm also looking forward to Deltarune, for the record. I can't wait to play that as well. I just know the soundtrack's going to be amazing. I just know that I'm going to be thinking about it for months after we play it, just like I did episode 2 and episode 1 of Deltarune.
And if I recall correctly, it's going to have a console release. Like, they want to not only release it like on PC, but release it on like all the consoles when that comes out. So that'll be great.
I mean, that tracks basically with episode 2. I felt like the PC version came out like maybe a week earlier, but just a week. It didn't take that long for episode 2 to come to like Switch and PS4 and whatnot. So, God, it's been forever since episode 2.
I know. It's been like 3 years at this point. It's 2021.
That was like fucking 12, 13 C-squared episodes ago or something.
Yeah.
I think we talked about Deltarune Chapter 2 in like C-squared 6 or something.
Gosh, oh my gosh.
Oh, video game development can be long. Very, very long.
But when 3 and 4 come out, we're definitely going to talk about it here. I'm going to get my hands on it like when it drops, because I'm just so excited for it.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Okay, this award is the best game we'll never play again. And my nomination goes to Concord, because we're never going to play Concord ever again. Woo! Good job, Concord.
Yay. Oh, no.
The disaster of Sony. This is the game that, they were banking on in a major way. They poured a lot of money into this thing, but apparently not into the marketing, because I barely saw any ads or commercials for this. I just remember it showing up in a state of play and thinking like, okay, it's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of, but just not as much personality. But maybe some people will like that. What I didn't know about the whole story was that it's basically the free-to-play model, except you have to pay $40 to buy this game, which is, that's not going to beat out Marvel Rivals, and that's not going to beat out Overwatch and Multiverses and all these games that are free to play. And yeah, the character design didn't grab people. It just had made no dent whatsoever. It was a huge bomb. And because they poured so much money into making that game and it bombed so hard, they had to refund all of the people who bought it. They refunded everybody who bought Concord, and now the servers are dead. The game is dead. Nobody can play Concord ever again. years of game development, years of creating characters and doing all these things. This is probably going to go down as Sony's biggest blunder ever of all time. We're still going to be talking about Concord maybe 10 years from now, wondering like, remember that game? Remember what a disaster that was for Sony? Jesus Christ. Like, thank God they had Astrobot this year, because wow,
that was
Sony,
the same week as Astrobot.
That was
all the same week. It was the same week.
Same week.
Like literally like 1 or 2 days after like the shutdown or whatever, the announcement or whatever it was, Astrobot came out. So like you had Monday and Tuesday of that week being like, oh my god, fuck Sony, look what they did to Concord, this is horrible. And then Friday's like, humanity restored, Astrobot.
So it was just a major disaster, and one I had to include in these awards because I never played Concord. I didn't want to play Concord. I had no desire to play Concord. But damn, what a story, what a game. We're never going to play it. Even if I wanted to play Concord, I can't because it's dead. There's no way to play Concord right now. So rest in peace, you beautiful bastard. Concord is the best game I'll never play again.
And my pick also went to Concord because I can't play that game anymore for all the reasons that you mentioned. So Concord gets a double win from the two of us.
Boy, oh boy.
Ripperoni.
This next award is the Outsider Award. I could have called it the Contrarian Award, but I think Outsider sounds a lot better. This is a project that we enjoyed in 2024 that nobody else did. We were the only ones. We were the outsiders who appreciated this thing, but nobody else did. And my choice for the Outsider Award goes to the Knuckles TV show. Hell yeah. Long live Wade Whipple.
We were like the only two people cheering in that crowd when Wade Whipple popped up in Sonic Movie 3.
Wade Whipple shows up for one scene and I was just like, yeah, I fist pumped and I went, Wade Whipple, oh shit, here we go. And I laughed at the idea of him playing hockey with the Master Emerald because it was funny, because that's the dumbest thing a protector of something would ever do with the thing they're protecting. Great character, you're all wrong.
See, it's like I said in the episode when we covered it, in case you didn't listen to the entire thing. It's okay if you didn't like it. It's fine. It's totally okay. Mm-hmm. But it's also okay if we enjoyed it for the reasons that we explained in the podcast. And like, I don't think it's like Sonic X great or Sonic Boom great, because like those are my favorite TV shows of Sonic, and it's like a direct adaptation, so obviously like those are going to be better than like, you know, Knuckles here. But like at worst, it's just like a family show that I would channel surf and land on Nick at Night or Nickelodeon one night, and I could imagine Knuckles being on there. It's fine. It's okay.
This is a show.
Fine. It's fine.
I think it's good. I wouldn't even say fine. I think it's good because this is a show with a fucking rock opera sung by Michael Bolton. We have a friggin' TV show where Michael Bolton, of all people, is singing about Sonic 06. He's singing about the flames of disaster and Knuckles. And that whole fourth episode, that rock opera episode, is the funniest thing I have seen from the whole movie Sonic verse, like in general. I just remember rewatching that episode after I finished the series and still laughing and still enjoying like the, Father, you can't leave me. Don't worry, son. I'll never. That puppet Knuckles dad dying and then the X's showing up on his eyes. It's just such a creative, so fun. And I may have purchased the Blu-ray of Knuckles, the TV show, and I may have it in my home because I enjoyed it. And everyone in the comments of that particular C-Squared episode, everyone on social media, they thought we were crazy. They thought we were insane for propping up something that disrespects Knuckles' legacy. It doesn't respect Knuckles as a character. And I was just like, it's a fun show. That's the appetizer for Sonic 3. It's not gonna be Sonic 3. It was just a little, it's like the garlic bread to Sonic 3's friggin' steak, okay?
Yeah, the garlic bread. I guess, yeah.
It was an appetizer. It wasn't meant to be this crazy ambitious thing. It's your fault, audience, for making it an ambitious thing. It wasn't ambitious. It was Knuckles. It was exactly what it needed to be.
It's the same old shit. From the fan base, same old shit.
So that's my pick for the Outsider Award.
It's gonna go to Joker for Liadu. So I saw it with my parents. My parents didn't like it, but I did. I get why people didn't like it. But to me, I think I've seen better musicals, but I think like for what they were going for, I thought it was just fine. Like, it's a very delusional movie. And both of the main characters are very delusional. Yeah. I thought it just fit the narrative of like, oh, well, Arthur isn't supposed to be this guy you're supposed to look up to. No. And I don't want to get into entire spoilers because I have to spoil the whole movie. But I understand the direction that this movie was going in. And the best part is Hideo Kojima himself agrees with me. And he also liked this movie. And he said in 10 to 20 years, people will rejudge it and value it as a masterpiece. And I agree with him. Oh, shit. You can go on his Instagram or his Twitter. He said it.
And this is the guy who made Metal Gear Solid 2. So you know he knows what he's talking about.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen Joker Part 2 yet, but going just by your recommendation, I do think it might be an interesting movie to check out. And we tend to share the same opinion on these kinds of things. But yeah, I just know people hated Joker 2. Oh, man, they were so mad about what this movie turned out to be.
I rated Joker 2, I think, 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. Get on my level.
We don't go by the common consensus. We think for ourselves, damn it. And that's why Knuckles and the Joker Foil-a-Doo were the best projects that nobody else appreciated.
Both really good picks.
Yeah, I think so. Knuckles was great. You're all wrong.
And Joker Foil-a-Doo will be a masterpiece and it'll be revered 10 years from now. If not, I will eat a shoe.
Oh boy.
If I am wrong, I will eat a shoe. But you have to remind me in 10 or 15 years.
Yes.
Our next award is the Never Do That Again award. And this award goes to a moment, a segment, a piece of media, or whatever that we saw and just said, no, please never do that again.
Never again.
And for this award, I picked airing the CM Punk All-In footage on an episode of AEW Dynamite. Tony Khan, come on. Like, come on, what were you thinking? Like...
That was quite the choice.
It was quite a choice, man. Like, I remember because, like, when we were going home we went to a friend's house for WrestleMania Night 1, which we talked about in the previous episode, but, like, we were in the car going home, and I was, like, I was still feeling sick from earlier that day because of the food poisoning. And, like, I'm scrolling on social media and I get a tweet that says, like, the Young Bucks are going to unveil what really happened at All In. And I'm reading this tweet and I'm like, wait, do they mean the footage?
Oh, boy.
And then, like, Fightful and other publications were like, yeah, they're airing the All In footage. I'm like, no, they can't do that. So that made me even more sick. I came close to vomiting in the car when I saw that. But, like, lo and behold, they aired it. They did it because obviously the answer to whatever WWE or Punk or whatever does to shoot at AEW is to, you know, just keep doing your thing and ignoring that and putting on great matches that prove that you're at the top of your game. But no, you have to keep retreading this
Yeah.
Why did they do it? Why did they do it? I'm sorry. Like, they aired it. It's the footage. And the worst part of it is that it's not in the re-upload of the segment, because they re-uploaded that Young Bucks segment, but they cut the footage out. And there were copyright claims sent out to people who were reposting the footage on Twitter. And I've never seen this with any other AEW clip. So I'm like, why'd you do it? Why? Why?
This was the time when AEW seemed to be so sensitive about their image. Because, like, this is also the same year where Will Ospreay made a crack about Triple H marrying the boss's daughter. And also, Edge had to come out and just make this big monologue about, I love AEW. AEW is the greatest wrestling company I've ever been in. You know, stuff like that. And it just, every time that happens, every time something like that pops up, it just goes like, all right, man, we get it. We know that people are knocking AEW right now, but you don't need to be so insecure and just push back every time we get a little hate or something. And the Punk footage genuinely didn't answer any questions that we had. It didn't show us any, there were no revelations about the footage that was just like, oh, I can't believe Punk lied about that. No, everything Punk said happened in that footage. Like, we're not shocked by the outcome. We've known the outcome for friggin' a long time now. And, okay, we get to see it now. Now we actually physically know what it looks like. Cool. So what?
It could have been better off left as, like, an urban legend, like a myth, because, like, one of the initial reports that came out after that fight happened backstage, why am I calling it a fight, just a scuffle? But one of the initial reports that came out was, like, the monitors fell on Tony Khan, and I just have this hilarious image in my head for the longest time of all of these TV monitors falling on Tony Khan, literally. But none of that happened in the footage. So now that's ruined, and I can't think about that. So thanks, Tony.
He was in fear for his life.
And they've just never really recovered from that. Not to say that, like, they're doomed or they're in bankruptcy or stuff, but, like, there's a dip in viewership after that segment, and they've kind of just floated around in the same lower number since then.
Yeah.
You know, just live and let live, do your own thing. Like, it's like what Tony said, to be AEW is to be under constant attack, and I'm like, okay now, all right, sure.
Oh boy. I think that's just
like,
being a celebrity.
have some confidence in your promotion. Have some confidence. You're still around. You're still kicking. You're not making the same mistake that Eric Bischoff and WCW did. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. That is my pick for never do that again. Please never do that again.
My choice for never do that again is also wrestling related. I'm going to choose having The Rock face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's a good one.
They had all this build up. They had this game plan going forward, and obviously it worked out. I know it worked out, but there was like that brief window, those 2 weeks where it felt like Roman and Rock were going to be a thing, and everybody was so friggin' mad. And this wasn't like a swerve, or this wasn't like, oh, we're just trying to egg the audience on. No, they genuinely wanted to do that. The documentary that came out afterwards, The Rock had to be like, oh, I guess people don't want this right now. I guess this is bad timing. I guess we shouldn't be doing this. And I'm just like, no shit, Rock. No shit. Read the room. So don't make a plan for this long storyline and then just create a completely new main event out of nowhere. Never do that again. What are you doing? So yeah, never do that again.
Never do that again.
This award is the biggest waste of time. And I think we're both going to agree on this one. The biggest waste of time in 2024 was the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight on Netflix.
Yes. Yes, it was. It was the biggest waste of time. There was so much hype going into it, but it sucks because, like, the match or two before that was really great, and I like that way more than the main event.
Yeah. I just remember seeing social media all year and having to hear about the Paul brothers being friggin' morons all the friggin' time. And every time they were being morons, like they always are, there was just this overwhelming desire for like, oh, I hope Mike Tyson knocks this motherfucker out. Oh, I hope Mike Tyson knocks this kid on his ass. Even though, like, it's pretty obvious, guys, that Mike Tyson hasn't been fucking Iron Mike Tyson since like the early 90s, and we haven't had that caliber of boxer for a long while. Like, modern day Mike Tyson has lost fights in 2000s and 2010s, and like, this isn't a shock that he's not the man he used to be. And yeah, fighting a super old boxer, turns out it's not just a crazy one-sided victory. Mike Tyson did not win. Oh, what a waste of time.
And that was before you get into the buffering issues. If you even saw the fight, because Netflix was buffering so much.
I think so many people were tuning in, the servers just couldn't handle it. And like, compared to like Raw on Netflix, I had an easier time watching Netflix Raw just last week, but no, I was struggling to even watch that Jake Paul fight. Like, my internet was just constantly freezing, constantly locking up. I'd go on social media. I wasn't the only one. Everyone was having trouble watching this fight and couldn't really catch most of it. And when we finally did, it was just like, great.
Yeah. I got nothing more to say. It was a big waste of my time, too.
Madam Web was at least funny. This wasn't funny. This was depressing.
I guess so, yeah. Catwoman was at least funny.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
I hope you're enjoying that DVD I got you.
She bought me the DVD of Catwoman.
Yeah.
The Halle Berry movie from 2003 or 4 or 5 or whenever it was.
Yeah, so you can enjoy it.
Oh my God. Major waste of time. So let's move on. This award goes to the best social media app. I think you all know the answer to this one. Because the winner goes to Blue Sky. Blue Sky really stepped it up this year and is finally an alternative to Twitter that the majority of me and my friends are all using. And I don't know if that's just because it's basically the Twitter we remember from back in the day, minus a few features, or if it's because Elon Musk has shot the fucking website in the foot so many goddamn times that it's just now unusable. It is just now a garbage, awful, terrible social media app that nobody wants to be on, that Blue Sky is like the breath of fresh air that we all need. Jesus Christ. I just remembered the instigating incident that finally got me to really take Blue Sky seriously and to stop posting on Twitter, was the fact that, like, people that you block can now read your posts again. They can see everything you post, and that the only thing you're blocking is them communicating directly to you, which does nothing for if they communicate to a person responding to your tweets. And I was just like, fuck that, no. I locked my account because I'm like, I blocked those people for a reason. They are not going to see my tweets. I am going to keep them in the dark by locking my account, and fuck it. I'm just going to stick to Blue Sky majorly in a new way. And I think something else happened after that happened, but I was already on Blue Sky for the majority of that time anyway, so I don't even remember what it was, but just Twitter sucks.
Yeah. But Blue Sky's been great so far. Like, for the most part, I've been able to find, like, most of the people I've been interacting with on Twitter anyway. I'll go back on Twitter to bookmark things and fandoms, because as great as Blue Sky is, for the things that I want to talk about in wrestling for my future content, I can't get the full picture of everyone's reactions and kind of the feel of everything unless I have Twitter. So, like, I've just been bookmarking things and fandoms and stuff like that. I'll make the occasional post, but my rule going forward is if you want video game and wrestling discourse, that is all on my Blue Sky. I refuse to talk about wrestling on Twitter ever again, because oh exactly. God, it was horrible. I have much more nuanced discussions about wrestling on Blue Sky. It's great. It's awesome.
I just hate the vibes of what that site has become. I hate the idea that everyone posting on Twitter is so confrontational, and they're always looking for a fight, and they're always poo-pooing on every fucking thing you have to say. I could say I like bread and people just start talking shit about how bad bread is. You know, it's the worst kind of mentality to have. It just offers, this isn't even like constructive criticism or debate. It's just wave and wave of wave after negativity, where I would see on Twitter is stuff that made me feel bad, stuff that made me feel like miserable. And I'm like, well, I don't want to post here anymore because this isn't fun.
No.
Add into the fact that Elon Musk is a fucking idiot, an absolute moron, who unfortunately has ties to the White House through Trump, and I don't know how fucking... He made a fucking department of the government called
Doge. Yeah.
Fuck this stupid fucking Earth, okay? Just... Fuck this Earth and fuck everything about it.
I'm telling you right now, as someone that goes on that site for like fandom purpose and research reasons, it definitely has been getting worse. There have been more ads. There have been more like
bots,
kind of like misinformation threads. It's really sad.
And it really fuels into the theory of the dead internet, which is that nobody using the internet is a real person. Like, I just feel
that's
like...
what it feels like. You get all these, like, bot accounts that regurgitate, like, whatever it is that a person says. So, like, for example, if I put out a tweet that said, like, I don't know, Hulk Hogan gets booed on Monday Night Raw because of, you know, his values and things like that, there will be, like, several checkmark accounts that are clearly bots, and they'll rephrase that, but they'll be more overly verbose about it. It's really weird. Like, it's definitely dead internet-y. It's really, really weird.
I just don't like what he did to the checkmark system, where only the checkmarks have the top responses. Like, you go to see a post that's an opinion post, and you're like, okay. But then they prioritize the checkmarks, and the problem with the checkmarks is that they're all fucking idiots, because they're either people who paid money for Twitter and just want the attention, or they're just contrarian weirdos who are trying to get people to disagree with them because it gets them more money, because you get more money for the engagement, and being contrarian and being controversial gets more engagement. So nobody wants to be genuine. Nobody wants to be honest. You try to find real, genuine responses, and all you get are fucking weirdo right-wingers being fucking stupid. And I'm sorry, but that app has just been taken over by absolute stupid. I don't want to read that shit. I just feel like when you read Blue Sky, it feels like normal people having conversations again. And I missed that. I missed it so much. So this year, I had to prop up Blue Sky. My account links to my Blue Sky here on YouTube. And I'm never going back to Twitter unless I need documentation information for a certain marriage or something. I don't know. But that's about it.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Nothing more that I have to add that, like, you haven't talked about already. I just get less bullshit from Blue Sky. And yeah, there are bots coming in. But I feel like it's a learning curve that they're going to, like, try and, like, you know, curb against, hopefully. So, yeah.
Yeah, it still has things to do. It still needs to let us upload GIFs and GIFs. It needs to let us upload particular photos and videos in DMs and stuff. And there are still things about Blue Sky that are a work in progress, don't get me wrong. But I'm much happier there, and it feels like the old social media of the early 2010s over there right now. And I prefer that, and I'd rather just foster a good audience that isn't made up of contrarian, shithead, negative pissant bastards that makes me hate the human race.
It's nice that I can critique and praise, but critique, focusing here and focusing on critiques like WWE and AEW, and not be called someone who's on Tony Khan's payroll or Triple H's payroll, because I've been accused of both in the past.
Yeah.
And it just feels nice to have people that, like, I can have conversations about wrestling with. It's great. It's awesome. I want to keep doing that.
Hell yeah. And now that takes us to the award, the most addictive game. This is the game that we just could not put down. We kept playing it over and over and over and over and over again. And Caro, that's not Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. What is it?
No, it's not. A certain game was nominated for Game of the Year, and I had to go check it out because everyone was kind of buzzing about it. And if you need me going forward, I will be stuck in Balatro hell because my most addictive game of this year is Balatro.
Oh, boy. It's not enough that you got addicted to that nonsense. Then you had to stick the needle in my veins. You had to stick it into my forearm and get me to play it at the end of the year. But yes, Balatro, I don't know how you pronounce it, but the one with Jimbo the Clown, and it's the one that's poker, but like a roguelike. It's got this whole randomized element where you get all these different Joker cards to give you different multipliers and enhancements so you can get more chips, so you can get through the blinds and take out the big boss blind at the very end, which can be not that bad or really, really devastating if it's the wall.
Yeah, fuck the wall.
The chip requirement's supposed to be like 2 times smaller than that.
Yeah, I have had many a run killed by the wall. I even got to the end of, like, the initial run, and then I was hit with an extra large blind.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I guess it's over. But Balatro is really great. Don't download it, because you're never going to know life as you have experienced it ever again.
Oh, man.
But if you don't give a shit about that, Balatro will be great for you.
Yeah, it's also a pretty easy game to understand, you know? Like, all you really need to know are, like, poker hands, you know, pairs, 2 pairs, flushes, straights, all that stuff. And then you're just sort of going by the whims of the jokers and the planets and the tarot cards, all the things that you get along the way. Because again, it is randomized. You do get to set up like different decks. Like this deck gives you an extra hand. This deck gives you more money. This deck does this. This deck does that. So you can choose different cards the more you play the game. But yeah, you just try and see how far you can get until you can get to that one particular run that'll take you into 100,000 chips. And if you beat that, you officially win a game of Balatro.
If you win the game of Balatro, you have the option to continue to keep going for, like, more chips and more points. So, like, I think you can get up to, like, I think the maximum the game goes up to, you can actually break the game by going up to, like, an exponential, like, score. But you can have Balatro keep going for, like, a long while if you know what jokers and upgrades to get. I'm not that great yet, but I have beaten some decks.
I'm just saying, some of the trophies frighten me, because it's like, I don't expect to get the platinum on this ever, because it's like, okay, you have to do a run without doing any of the blinds, like you skip all of them. So you don't get a lot of opportunities to get extra money and extra Joker cards, although the skips do give you bonus features as well, so maybe. Yeah. And then there's like, you can make like 100 million chips in one game or some shit. I'm like, what are you talking about? 1 million in one game? What? No.
I think the most I've gotten is like maybe 800,000.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I haven't done 1 million, but I've done up to 800,000.
That's scary.
With the right Joker combination, it's possible. Like, what I've been doing is that I take a picture of the Jokers I've beaten each run with, or I screenshot them.
Yeah.
Just so I know which ones to use for which particular hands. So it's like, oh, if I want a run of straights, I will try and find these types of Jokers and use these types of tarots and upgrades. Or, oh, I'm feeling like it's going to be more of a 2-pair kind of, like, run. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I've had bad luck with Jokers since you left. I can't seem to get a good game going.
Oh, no.
I've won 2 games when you were here, and that was about it. But would you believe that that's not my most addictive game of 2024? No.
What is yours?
The game I'm going to nominate technically came out in 2022, but the game finally reached the PlayStation in 2024, and so I count it. And that would be Vampire Survivors.
Oh, yeah, that one.
This is another very similar game. It's a roguelike bullet hell where there are no real buttons. All you do is you move the character around. That's it. And you select what upgrades you get every time your character levels up. That's it. You just move around, level up, move around, level up. But heavily inspired by Castlevania, this thing takes all of those famous weapons like the cross, the axe, the Bible. It takes all of those items and puts it into this bullet hell type scenario where you're being surrounded by mobs and mobs and mobs of enemies, and you're just trying to accumulate more sub items, and you want to get all of these little perks. Do I want more damage? Do I want the frequency of my attacks to increase? Because again, all you do is move. You don't actually push the attack button. The attacks come out on their own, and you just move out of the way of stuff. And that game just gets exponentially easier the more you play it. And, you know, you just keep upgrading and finding new maps and new maps and new maps. And the whole point is to try and see if you can last 30 minutes, because 30 minutes is a win. Anything below 30 minutes is not a win. And then death comes and just kills you, because that's what happens at the 30-minute mark.
Yeah.
And God, time. If you're ever bored, if you're ever at like the dentist's office and you got a Switch, right? Download Vampire Survivors for your Switch, play it at the dentist's office, and I swear to God, any appointment you're waiting for will just come right then and there. You'll just be at your appointment because time will move by so friggin' quickly. It feels like you play Vampire Survivors and then 5 hours have passed and you're still playing Vampire Survivors, but it doesn't feel like 5 hours. It feels like you've only been playing it for like a little amount of time. It's crazy.
Or alternatively, you can download Balatro.
Oh.
And also feel that rush of time just pass by.
Either way,
Try my drug, not his drug.
No, take my drugs.
My drug won awards.
My drug makes you feel better. So take it. Either way, I finally caught up to what everyone else got addicted to last year, so my pick is Vampire Survivors as the most addictive game of 2024. The next award is what we call the thing we feel bad for missing. This is something that came out in 2024 that we didn't get to play, we didn't get to watch, just something that we completely avoided, but we want to express our disappointment and our regrets that we did not get around to it. And my personal nomination is Penny's Big Breakaway, which is from the Sonic Mania devs. It's a 3D momentum-based video game where you use this yo-yo to swing around, and all I ever saw from all these Sonic fans who played it was that they loved the tech, and they loved the momentum, and they loved the platforming so friggin' much. And, you know, it's the team that made Sonic Mania. It sort of, I don't want to say shadow dropped, but it certainly came out a lot faster than we all anticipated it was going to come out. And by that point, I had already spent so much money on like trips and all this other stuff. I just never got around to it. And then time passed and I played other stuff like Astrobot and whatnot. And it sort of became a foggy memory of mine. It just sort of became a thing that existed in the ether, but it just completely left my brain. And every time I do remember it, I always know that it's like $40 Canadian, which is higher than most games. And so I'm always just like, I'll wait for a price drop. And I haven't seen a special deal that's gotten it down to like $25 or $20 yet. So I do want to play it. I do want to check it out. It is something that has caught my attention, but I just never got around to it.
So this game has been getting a lot of hype in the last month, and I've seen friends enjoy it. But I hear a lot of good things about Marvel Rivals. Yeah. I'm not much of a multiplayer online person unless it's like something very specific like 14.
Yeah.
Or Splatoon. It's weird with me. But like a lot of people seem to enjoy it. It's just something I haven't really gotten around to yet.
I think it's got a bigger gateway of entry than even the original Overwatch. Like, I know that Overwatch 2 is technically free to play, and became something lesser that a lot of people don't really like in comparison to the original Overwatch. But Marvel Rivals, it like starts off with like a gigantic roster. This is a free-to-play game where you got like 20 different shooters, 20 different combatants that you can choose to play as, that are all healers and tanks and all these different classes, except, you know, they're Marvel heroes and villains. So you can be the Punisher, you can be Wolverine, you can be Scarlet Witch, you can be Squirrel Girl, finally being represented in a video game. And yeah, that is a crazy, intriguing prospect, because it's so awesome when you get a free game that's like Fall Guys or something that's just like blows everyone away, that it's just like so freaking fun, and it happens to be free, so there's like nothing preventing you from actually trying it.
Yeah.
It seems to be the Overwatch killer. It seems to be the one that finally captured the energy of Overwatch back in 2016, so that's kind of exciting. I also have not played it yet, just because I've been preoccupied with a certain someone in Toronto and whatnot, but I will definitely get around to playing it probably later this month, because I am intrigued and I want to try it as well.
You're usually my litmus test for things, so if you like it, I'll probably enjoy it.
I can't promise I'll play every day, because I don't care how good your multiplayer game is, like Final Fantasy XIV. I want to play other stuff, and I do have other things that I do tackle after a while, so, you know, I can't promise I'll stick with it, but I definitely want to give it a shot.
I have a million other hobbies to curate myself to.
Yeah, that's the problem. I can't dedicate myself to just one game. But this award is the RPG Comeback. This is given to a participant that hasn't been doing RPGs for a while, but man, did they come back in a major way in 2024. And this award goes to Super Mario. Because we got Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door on Switch. We got a Super Mario RPG remake, which was fantastic. And we ended the year with a new entry in the Mario and Luigi series, Brothership. And that is a crazy year for Mario RPGs, because every single one was represented and almost all of them were friggin' classics. Every one of them was great, and people are still gushing about all the Mario RPGs released this year. And I just had to give an award acknowledgement to Mario, because that's amazing. Mario RPG is like one of the games I grew up on the Super Nintendo that I just absolutely adore. And that remake was something special, let me tell you.
What is your definition of an RPG?
A role-playing game. I would call it something with turn-based battles, or just mechanics where you upgrade your character and you level up, I suppose.
It's gotta have a story, right?
Yeah, it's gotta have a story. I think so.
And it's gotta have multiple characters, right?
That's right. I agree with that.
And it can take place over the course of years, right?
Sure, absolutely.
And it can have character development throughout decades, right?
I don't see why not.
And it can just shadow drop in the middle of nowhere, right?
Where are you going with this?
Fuck y'all, I'm nominating Oasis for the best RPG comeback. Fuck y'all.
Wow.
Multiple characters. Your turn-based moves are technically their songs. Fuck y'all.
Damn, that's an inspired choice. I never thought of that, but that is indeed an amazing comeback. I will give you that.
An RPG that has been laid to sleep for 15 years and is finally resurrected and come back like Okami 2.
Now, is Oasis a turn-based affair, or is that an action RPG?
Depending on whether Liam and Noel are fighting, because in that case, it's an action RPG.
Oh.
You fight like it's Kingdom Hearts or Xenoblade.
Okay. When he stole Idris Elba's hat, was that turn-based or action RPG?
That was turn-based. Idris only had two choices, either punch him back or let him keep the hat. And if you go through the lore of the entire band, you'll get boss battles, you'll get into ridiculous storylines. In 2009, the RPG splits into two depending on which brother you choose. So there are multiple stories.
Oh, shit.
There are multiple story paths.
Oh my god, it's like Fire Emblem Fates. That's amazing.
Which side will you choose? Will you choose Noel or will you choose Liam? What if I told you that we have a way to see this RPG play out live?
What?
All we have to do is go to the not yet built stadium in Toronto on August 25th, and we can play this RPG live.
Oh my god. I think we should do that and make a C-Squared episode about it in the far future.
Absolutely.
I love monetizing my adventures. Well, there you go. All the props to Super Mario and Oasis for the RPG comeback.
And our final category for this award show is Worst Beatdown.
Worst Beatdown.
Worst Beatdown. So a lot of things have happened this year in gaming, in pop culture in general, and my pick was not from a video game, even though there have been fights where I feel like the villain got the worst beatdown like ever.
All right.
My pick is Drake, as in the rapper Drake. Oh boy, what a year it's been for him in the absolute worst way possible.
That's my winner too. I also nominate Drake for the worst beatdown of 2024. Oh my god.
For a week on Twitter, that is all everyone talked about. I have never seen, like, no discourse happening on the timeline because everyone was talking about the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef. I saw no, like, stupid discourse. I saw no arguments. It's all Twitter was for, like, a week. It was great.
Even I heard about it, and I'm not really into the whole music scene.
Obviously, Kendrick won. And then, like, not only that, but he's performing at the Super Bowl this year. And he's touring, and he's doing 2 nights in Toronto for his upcoming tour on, like, Father's Day weekend. And that's wild. I'm just like, Drake, honey, no.
Do you think he's going to sing the Drake diss song at the Super Bowl?
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. I have no doubt in my mind he's going to sing that at the Super Bowl.
Oh my god. Well, that's going to be absolutely vicious and brutal. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and Drake deserves it.
It occurs to me that we don't have an award for this, but I just want to talk about it anyway because it's 2024 and this is our last chance to. Also, I was very impressed with Sabrina Carpenter this year.
Yes.
I'm not really into pop music most of the time. I think the last pop idol I've actually enjoyed, at least in the West, was Lady Gaga back in like the late 2000s, early 2010s. But man, anytime I drive around anywhere, I would always get Sabrina Carpenter on the radio, and her music is so freaking good. I'm always looking forward to it. I actually go, yes, in the car when Sabrina Carpenter pops up on the radio.
I know.
So I just had to give my appreciation. Sabrina Carpenter's friggin' amazing.
She's a great artist. I've known her since, like, she was on Disney Channel with Girls Meets World, and she, like, kind of had, like, her music career starting up from there. But she really came into her own with this album, especially. I just like how she expresses, like, femininity and, like, girliness, and it's, like, it feels very femme-focused, because I feel like sometimes a lot of, like, sexual innuendos and things like that can be seen through, like, a male gaze, but I feel so comfortable when Sabrina Carpenter's, like, confident in that area, and it just feels great. It feels great being a woman. Like, man, I feel like a woman.
It's just confidence indeed, and also just, like, a great self-awareness about her. I think her album cover, that's going to be like a classic, like 20, 30 years from now. I think to me, that gives me like Michael Jackson album cover vibes. That friggin' album looks great.
And I own the album now, which I'm happy about.
Hell yeah. And even just the music video where she kills Wednesday.
Yeah.
By shooting her with a shotgun. Just amazing. So yeah, I got to give Sabrina Carpenter her flowers. I understand why Shadow and Amy are going to the concert. I understand completely.
Oh, yeah.
Sonic Twitter takeover reference, in case you wonder what the hell that meant. But yeah, 2024, Caro, how did you feel about it overall?
It felt really great. I mean, the middle of it sucked for me personally, but when it didn't suck, it was great. But I'm ready to look forward to 2025.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably been my least productive year ever in terms of my YouTube channel, and that's something I definitely want to improve on and fix for 2025. I'm already working on my next video, and it's going pretty nicely with the script. It is a year I'm going to be looking back on like, oh boy, that was very exhausting, but in terms of like entertainment and media, it's definitely been a pretty great one. Seven Rebirth, Astrobot, Metaphor. It's just been banger after banger after banger, and great wrestling, great everything. I didn't have any problem with the entertainment. I just have a problem with the November event that is probably going to make 2025 a miserable year.
Yeah.
But hey, you take the good with the bad, and 2024 wasn't that bad, all things considered. And I'm going to do better on my YouTube this year. I'm going to do a lot better in 2025. Yes, I am.
We're going to lock in.
This is the lock-in year. This is going to be
lock-in year.
This is going to be the big one. We have announcements, but 2024, a year in remembrance. It's question time. It's question time. It's that time, ladies and gentlemen. My patrons who paid for the privilege get to send me questions that Caro and I are going to read out loud and answer here for you today. Are you ready, Caro?
I am ready. Aye, aye, Captain.
Awesome. Okay, first up, Gelly Elfson asks, how do you feel about Pokemon? Would you do a series of videos on the games like you did for Final Fantasy?
I like Pokemon. I would say I was more of a larger fan of it back when I was a kid, more so than now. Like, I'm very casual with Pokemon now. Like, when the new release comes out, I more than likely get it. But I was super into it, like, during Gen 2, Gen 3. Like, I was super into, like, breeding and, like, Pokemon contests in Ruby and Sapphire. I think crocheting Pokemon is cute. And I should make more Pokemon plush animals.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I like Pokemon. My favorite Pokemon is Swablu.
Oh boy.
Like, you know what that is.
I think it's after my time, maybe. Unless it was in Ruby and Sapphire, and otherwise I should know.
It was in Ruby and Sapphire.
Son of a bitch. Okay. I know it's the blue bird with the clouds, right?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, gotcha. I knew it.
The bluebird with the clouds.
I knew it. Yeah, I like Pokemon, but I'm not in love with it. It's not like one of my top 10 favorite franchises of all time or anything, but I definitely grew up with it when it first arrived, because, it exploded in popularity when I was in junior high, and every kid loved Pokemon in junior high. I mean, we were watching the cartoon, we were trading the cards, we were playing the games, we were so swept up in Pokemania. It was quite the time, and I'll never forget it. I played up to Gen 3, and then for some reason, I just fell on Gen 3 is when the magic started getting a little bit stale for me. I don't know if it's just because I liked the 8-bit chiptune music more than what the GBA was doing, or if I just played something like Final Fantasy X that was mind-blowing and so incredible and so special. Like, by the time I got to Ruby and Sapphire, I had played through most of the Final Fantasies, I had played through Paper Mario, I had played through Chrono Trigger and all these different games. And Pokemon, by the third entry, it was just, hey, get the badges, defeat the Elite Four. And I was like, okay, I've done this before, and I think I'm good. You know what you just did?
You
What's that?
You know the meme where the guy just walks away from, like, the diamond mine before hitting the diamonds? That's you.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Gen 4 was that amazing, huh?
Gen 3 was great.
But I played Gen 3.
The whole thing?
I mean, I don't think I finished it. But
Exactly.
it lost my interest. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. But, I still think the creatures are cute, and my favorite's Gengar. And I still, like, when we go into a video game store and I see, like, a plushie of Horsey or Eevee or whoever, I still go, oh, that's adorable, those Pokemon. But yeah, I like it. Don't love it. Is not like the greatest RPG, and I gotta play every one. Like, nah, I'm usually skipping out on a lot of them. I like Pokemon Legends Arceus. That was pretty good.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I had a lot of fun with that
Which
one.
we did an episode on.
Yeah, PP.
Stop.
What? That's the name of the episode, PP.
Is the name of the episode. Thank you for your question before I lose my shit again.
Grand Tactician asks, hello, Clement and Kara. Hope you two had a great 2024 and an even better 2025. As for my question, who are your best boys and or girls in Fire Emblem and why? Lucina has always been best girl. Even when I played Awakening, I was just like, she is the coolest character ever. The thing is, I couldn't romance her. I romanced Cordelia instead because I felt weird about romancing Crom's daughter. I felt like, on a role-playing level, I just felt kind of weird being like, hey, Crom, I'm kind of fucking your daughter, you know? But Lucina is absolutely my favorite female Fire Emblem character. And I guess on the male side, I'll go with Ike. I always thought Ike was pretty darn cool. Dude got really buff in the second game, and, you know. Ike, he's our boy. Unlike Roy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't Roy your boy? Well, my choices are gonna be a little bit basic, because I'm a pretty casual Fire Emblem fan. I liked picking Marth in Melee, because I don't know, I just liked his look and I liked his hair.
Yeah.
So I guess him. And then Raphael, Hubert from Three Houses. And then in terms of girls, I like Lucina too. I also like Annette and Bernadetta from Three Houses.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah.
All right. Sorry I gave Smash Brothers answers. I do play these games, and I do look at all the characters, but I genuinely think Lucina is super, super cool, and I do like Ike, so yeah. Thank you for the question. Shockwave FPS Studios asks, Clement, have you played the Dissidia Final Fantasy games? If so, what's your thoughts on them? And Caro, which wrestling sport is better, WrestleMania or WWE?
They're both under the same umbrella, but I think if you're talking about whether WrestleMania, as in like the event, or WWE in general with the product, I will say that WrestleMania tends to show off the best of WWE every year, and because of that, it's the stronger product over yearly TV. So some years it's a hit, some years it's a miss. Last year was a really big hit, so I really like that. I'm interested to see what they do this year because of some storylines that have ended and some that have just been hinted at.
Yeah.
But WWE, they have events throughout the year, so like sometimes there will be like waves where it's like at its peak and sometimes it's at a low period. Because of one of their big pay-per-views coming up called the Royal Rumble, you're entering a peak period now, which tends to be from like January to April. So I'm excited about that. See how things ramp up. But yeah, I guess it depends for either one. It just depends on like the time of year and what they're doing. There have been some years where I've really liked what WWE is doing, but they completely fumble WrestleMania. And there have been years where I haven't been so high on the product, and then somehow WrestleMania ends up being one of the best shows of the year. Like with WrestleMania 31, I felt that way because I wasn't feeling the show going in because I was like, I don't know what they're doing, but that show ended up being amazing. For the record, it's the show where Seth Rollins cashed in at the end.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
As for the Dissidia Final Fantasy games, I like them okay. I'm not, like, super in love with them. I think that Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi is a better arena fighter than the Dissidia games. I never really got into them. I especially find the story and the cutscenes extremely boring. I think the characters are so dry in that version. And they turned Kefka from, like, a sadistic nihilist to just, like, a goofy clown. So a lot of the characterization doesn't even feel right to me, but, you know. They're fine. I don't love Dissidia, though. I think they're fine. But yeah, thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Josh Young asks, Hi, Clement. In Sonic the Hedgehog 4, do you think we will get the Metallics army from the Fleetway comics and have them be controlled by Neo Metal Sonic and maybe get Metal Overlord?
That sounds like such a badass idea, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, my answer is just no.
Oh.
I don't expect Metallics to be in the movies. I think that's just a little too out of the wheelhouse. I don't think Sega will go for it. And I'm sure they're just going to stick to characters from the games, so...
But it would be nice. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Mr. Spaghetti asks, most anticipated new releases, anything I should look out for, mainly LMAO. Yeah, we basically covered that in the award show. Deltarune, Grand Theft Auto 6, Pirate Yakuza. I can't wait for Pirate Yakuza. That should be really fun.
That new Sonic Racing game.
Sonic Racing, Okami 2. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I don't think Okami 2 is coming out this year, but... Oh, I have a good one. The Switch 2.
Is that going to be out in 2025?
That's the rumor right now, yes. I mean, there have been all the leaks online. I don't know, maybe the Switch 2 has been announced by the time this video comes up, but I know the leaks have been really ramping up over the last week. And Nintendo hasn't really denied anything, so maybe we'll see a new Nintendo console this year.
Maybe. Thank you for the question. Gumrobber asks, what was your experience when you first played Super Mario Odyssey? I'm currently playing through Odyssey and I'm trying to go for 100%, which I've never tried before until now. 2, I noticed a few years ago you deleted some of your co-op Let's Plays, like New Super Mario Bros. Wii and a few others. What was your reason for deleting them? That was mostly just because it had a lot of my real-life friends in them, and some of them started getting harassed on Facebook by a fucking weirdo, and I just didn't feel comfortable allowing my real-life friends, who had their names broadcasted publicly in a YouTube video, getting punished for my fame. So I eventually deleted everything with my in-person friends. So sorry for that, but unfortunately we got some bad eggs ruining that fun. As for Mario Odyssey, I love that game. It's fantastic. It's not my favorite Mario game. That would be Galaxy, but you can't go wrong with 3D Mario and having the ability to just take over all these different enemies so that you can be a frog, you can be a plant, you can be a tank, you can be a Koopa, you can be a Goomba. Just the fact that you could take over and possess everything is so friggin' fun, and the worlds are so expansive, and I just love exploring and looking for all the stars, and yeah, it's a fantastic game. I love Odyssey.
Mm-hmm. I love Odyssey too. It was my second favorite game of 2020. Not 2020, I'm sorry. It was my second favorite game of 2017, next to Persona 5.
God, was it that long ago?
It was that long ago. Same year as the Switch.
God, the Switch really has been around that long, huh? It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it, damn it. But thank you for the question. Gabriel Cousins asks, I'm pretty sure the concept of digressing has been heavily Clemented into the hearts and minds of many. Now, on to my question. Hey, Clement, as Sonic 06's #1 hater, what is your opinion on the Sonic fan game Sonic Project 06 and why? And for Caro, what are your favorite and least favorite American cartoons and why? Let's not Clement's words here. Yes, I Clement to do that. I'm a Clementer, don't you know? If you want me to drop with these puns, I am sorry. I just know they are not good for your Clemental health. I sure hope I don't get too carried away with these puns.
No, please keep doing them. I love them.
That's the best question we've ever gotten throughout the whole C-Squared legacy. Good Lord. I know Kara's got a lot to say about her question, so I'll just get this off the bat. I think Project 06 looks fine. I'm not a PC gamer, and I have no desire to play a polished turd.
Oh.
I'm sure it's a good game. Johnny and them have said it's a good game. I just have no desire to play it. Unless Sega makes an official Sonic 06 remake, I'm not interested. Sorry. Maybe it's because I hate it too much. Maybe it's just I just don't want to. I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. Okay? So, looks fine. I'm not going to play it.
All right. So I love this question that you submitted because I don't get the chance to talk about this topic as much. So, my dad is like a big fan of like 30s and 40s cartoons. Specifically like Popeye and stuff. And so he kind of just raised me on that when I was a kid. I used to have like a lot of really bad sleep problems. So sometimes I would just come downstairs and watch Cartoon Network with my dad late at night. So we'd watch like the Flintstones and Toonheads and so many like really old cartoons. So like I have different favorite cartoons depending on like the company or the person making them, I guess. So like I love Tom and Jerry, grew up with that a lot. Looney Tunes is always a classic. I also like a lot of the really old like Tex Avery shorts, especially like Droopy. I love Droopy. Like the Droopy puppy.
Good old Droopy.
Mm-hmm. And Hanna-Barbera wise, I'm a big advocate for Jabberjaw. Like, I just love the concept of like an underwater band. And Jabberjaw, the shark. I know it's like a Scooby-Doo clone, and Hanna-Barbera made a lot of Scooby-Doo clones in like the 70s. But Jabberjaw, I don't know, that was something that always stuck out to me. Nickelodeon. I like My Life as a Teenage Robot a lot. Angry Beavers is also one of my favorites. I like that show a lot too. Cartoon Network. I would think I was a bit more of a Cartoon Network person. But I like Two Stupid Dogs.
Hell yeah.
It was such a good show. I like Time Squad, which is a very obscure show, and Mark Hamill is one of the characters in it, so that's a plus. And obviously, Powerpuff Girls is one of my favorites too. And some newer shows that I've liked. My favorite show of 2024 was actually Smiling Friends. I love that show. It's so funny.
Oh yeah, that show is fantastic.
Shout out to Stefan for getting me totally real plushies of Pim and Charlie from that show. Oh, and I forgot. I really love Space Ghost Coast to Coast. It's one of my favorite shows ever, and I love The Brack Show and Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. Whew.
God damn. We should have played the Harvey Birdman Wii game. It was in my house.
I know.
Next time, we'll play the Harvey Birdman Capcom Ace Attorney clone.
Least favorite. So I mentioned earlier that I like the Tex Avery cartoons from like the 40s and 50s. They did a reboot of them in the 90s that was bad. It was horrible. It was so bad. Like they had it on Tubi, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's not as bad as I remembered it being, but no, it's that bad. It's horrible. Another cartoon I really didn't like as much, and I can tell this is probably the point where I stopped watching Nickelodeon as much, since Avatar: The Last Airbender had ended around this time. But Fanboy and Chum Chum, I can't do it. I can't. I remember seeing the intro for that show, and it just made me viscerally, like, ill. Also, one more cartoon recommendation. Please watch The Twisted Tales of Felix the Cat. It's on Peacock. I think it's one of the most underrated cartoons of the 90s, and it's hilarious.
Excellent stuff. Thank you for the question.
Thank you for your question.
And finally, we have Stench Vanilla, who asks, do you honestly think there was a dark age of Sonic? I think the only bad games were Sonic Battle, Genesis, Chronicles, and especially 06, even though they're doing an awesome remake of it. But I enjoyed Secret Rings my second time, Sonic Riders, and the little I played of Sonic Advance 3, though I admit SAD 3 is the worst of the 3 Advance games. Do you guys view High Max and Perfect Cell from DBZ as similar? They both are made from someone else's DNA, can't handle loss very well. Their creators hate the main protagonist, and they are both voiced by Norio Wakamoto. To that last question, no. Because I don't think High Max goes around draining people and absorbing their abilities and stuff. It would have been cool if in the fight itself he just like used Mega Busters and Z Sabers and I don't know, the Maverick abilities that you acquire throughout the game. That would have made the boss fight more interesting, but otherwise, no, I don't really think of them as similar at all. And as for the Dark Age, yeah, I think there was still a Dark Age of Sonic because, like, one, you've named a lot of games that were bad. To me, that's too many. You put Sonic Battle, you put Genesis, you put Chronicles, you put 06, that's like 4. You said you didn't enjoy Secret Rings on your first playthrough, you enjoyed it on your second? Yeah, but the first one is what counts. The first one is why everyone hates Lost World and why they never gave certain games a chance, because if that first impression doesn't work, then it's a bad game as far as I'm concerned. And again, it just, to me, Sonic 06 and Shadow is also a bad game. Like, I know we're getting a little bit of a resurgence of that game because of Shadow Generations, but to me, Shadow Generations is the good version of what Shadow 05 is, because I think if people actually had the game, they would find it so disappointing compared to Shadow Generations, especially when they get to, like, a lot of those maze-like levels with the chaoses and the artificial chaos and like in the past levels and stuff. But regardless,
wait until you tell them how many endings you have to achieve before getting to the final chapter.
Get used to Westopolis. But 06 was like the final nail in the coffin that just absolutely tarnished and diminished the brand of Sonic the Hedgehog. Because I remember what it was like in 2003 when Sonic was still a well-respected franchise where nobody really had anything bad to say about it. Like, sure, some people preferred some games over others. Not everyone liked Sonic 2 on Game Gear or 3D Blast. But there wasn't like this overwhelming, oh, Sega just makes awful games. Sonic is just such a terrible franchise. They should just put it out behind a shed and kill it already. You know? And 06 and Shadow and the games you mentioned, Secret Rings, Chronicles, Genesis, these games just absolutely tanked the reputation and the legacy of this franchise to the point that people had to invent a term called the Sonic Cycle, to the point that there's still like scoffs and still just like, oh God, Sonic, it's Sonic, great. I could go on and on and on. But the point is, yeah, I do think there was a Dark Age of Sonic because it permanently tainted the image of this franchise, and it completely changed the perception to normies who maybe don't play every Sonic game, but they knew the series was doing really, really bad, and that these games were trash, and it was just the bad time to be a Sonic fan. So yeah.
And Sonic is so popular now. Like, lots of kids, regardless of age, love Sonic. Like, I've worked with so many, like, students that are just raving about Sonic Forces, loving the movies. Like, it's such a different place now compared to what it was 15 years ago, because the Dark Age of Sonic was unfortunately when I was in middle school. And you know how middle schoolers are. Middle schoolers are mean, and they're going through puberty. So, you mentioned that you're a Sonic fan, and not great. Not great.
Yeah.
So there definitely was, like, a Dark Age. I'm just glad we're in a better place now.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for the question, and thanks to everybody who sent in questions for today's episode. That was fun, Caro. That was fun. You want to do the award show again next year?
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Let's make this a tradition. The C-Squared Awards every single year. We'll come up with some funny topics, funny ideas, and we'll try and play as many games as we can in 2025. We'll watch as many movies as we can. We'll just keep abreast of all the things that are going on this year. Because, yeah, we're going to need entertainment, I feel.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We're going to need entertainment. But we also played a whole bunch of stuff over the Christmas break that we're going to be covering in the next C-Squared episode. I know we want to talk about Chrono Trigger, because she finally got to play that for the first time. We do want to look at It Takes Two, the co-op adventure that actually won Game of the Year not too long ago, and anything else that might cross our minds, anything else we might want to talk about should show up in the next C-Squared episode, eh?
Yeah. I think the Royal Rumble will have happened.
Yeah.
Around the time we record, so we can talk about that. I'm going to Chicago next month, so depending on when we record that episode, I can tell y'all about my escapades in Chicago.
The Windy City.
Including a visit to Mindy's Bakery, that is on my list. I've been to Mindy's Bakery before. It's just I haven't visited Mindy's Bakery post All Out Scrum.
Yeah.
So that'll be great.
Just tell me if there's a framed picture of CM Punk and I'll be happy.
Will do.
But yeah, my next video is about the Xbox 360. I imagine I will get it out as soon as possible. And that should be a ton of fun. But until next time, I am the Great Clement.
And I am Caro Taro. Or just Caro. Whatever you want.
And we shall see you next time.
Bye.